Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Just Law on IQRA TV. I'm your host Ilyas Bulbulia and I'll be with you for the next hour. As our regular viewers are aware, on Just Law we do two things. First of all, we discuss an area of law which is of interest to you, our viewers. And secondly, more importantly, Just Law is a live show. So whatever questions that you have on any aspect of English law, please feel free to call in and discuss those matters with us. On this show, we should be able to discuss most aspects of English law. We get numerous questions on immigration law matters, which is fantastic. In addition to that, I should be able to deal with matters relating to family law matters, criminal matters, personal injury matters. So whatever your questions relate to, as long as it's to do with English law, we should be able to deal with those issues live on air. Just a couple of points before we get going. Obviously on a live show, it's not possible to look at things in a lot of detail. If it transpires that I need to look at your query in greater depth, then I'll ask you to leave your number with the control room and I will then give you a ring back. And secondly, again, if it transpires that before I can advise you properly, I need to look at your documents, then I will ask you to leave your number and I'll make arrangements to look at your documents and then give you a ring and discuss those documents with you. But in my experience, the vast majority of questions that are put to us live on air, I should be able to deal with those matters live on air. Now, as always, and I said this at the outset, we normally have a topic which we discuss with our viewers. It's something which is topical, something which is something which raises a lot of questions live on air and in practice. And over the last few weeks, we've been looking at how to make a successful immigration application to come to the United Kingdom. So where a husband or wife makes an application to come to the United Kingdom and they're granted a 2.5-year visa, that's all well and good. Today, what I want to look at is one step further, how you make an application to extend that within the United Kingdom, so that once somebody is here in the UK with their spouse visa, and they are getting close to the expiry of that visa, what do you then need to do to extend that in the United Kingdom? So that's what I want to focus on today, a successful extension application within the United Kingdom. Now, just on that, we get sometimes questions about those who are already in the United Kingdom, and it may well be that they are here on a different visa. So they may be here, for example, on a student visa, or they may be here on a tier 2 work permit, or they may be here under some other category. And we get asked questions about how can they transfer into a spouse visa within the United Kingdom. Now, what we'll be looking at today, the sort of process that you need to go through, it's more or less identical to the process that somebody else who's in the United Kingdom on a different visa category, the process that they need to go through, it's more or less identical. Slight differences in terms of the English language requirement, but apart from that, the vast majority of rules that need to be fulfilled are the same. So this topic really deals with those who are here already under a different visa category and want to transfer into the spouse visa category, or those who are already here in the United Kingdom with a spouse visa, they've got their 2.5-year visa, now they want to extend it in the United Kingdom for a further 2.5 years. It's how do we deal with that extension within the United Kingdom. So as our viewers will be aware, on previous shows we've looked at how you make an application to successfully come to the United Kingdom. Now we're looking at how do you extend that visa. Now, obviously the most important thing is that you make sure that you don't miss the visa expiry date, whether you're here under another category, such as, for example, a student visa. You need to make sure that whatever you're going to do, you plan well in advance and you make sure you get your application in before your visa expires. Likewise, somebody who's here in the United Kingdom on a spouse visa, they need to make sure that they get their application in before the visa expires. Now, in practice, we get asked, well, when do I need to submit my application? You have clients who come to you, some clients may come to you many months before, some clients may come to you just a couple of weeks before. wanting to apply. So when is it that you can submit your application for an extension? The reality is that what you should do is submit the application within 28 days of the visa expiring. So for example, if the visa is due to expire on the 29th of October 2019, you should look at submitting your extension application, or if you want to switch into this category, the switching application. If the visa is expiring on the 29th of October, you should be looking at making the application no sooner than 28 days before, and ideally before the visa expires. So the first date on which you can submit an application in the scenario that I've given would be around the 2nd of October. So you've got this window. If with this example where somebody's visa is expiring on the 29th of October, you'd have this window within which to apply from the 2nd of October 2019 up until actually the last day of the visa, which in our example here would be the 29th of October. So there's a bit of time there, and you need to decide when you want to apply, obviously bearing in mind that you can't miss the visa expiry date. So that's the first thing that you need to bear in mind, that you get the application in on time and during the correct 28-day window during which you can submit your application. Now, there are circumstances in which you can actually submit the application early. For example, if you're on a student visa and that's got a number of years left to run, or a number of years left to run, and you've got married, absolutely, there's nothing that prevents you from getting the application in at that stage. And even somebody who's actually on a spouse visa can apply before the 28-day window, but it can cause difficulty. So anybody who's here on a spouse visa, ideally wait for the period which is 28 days before the visa expires, get the application in at that time. Those who are here under different categories, they have more there's more flexibility there. They can potentially get the application in when they want. So first thing to bear in mind is timing. You must get the application in before the visa expires, and ideally within the correct window during which you should be submitting the application. The second thing is, obviously, you need to make sure that the application that you're making is the correct application. Now, somebody here on a spouse visa already who wants to extend their visa, historically, the form that needed to be completed is a form called FLRM. And even now, although those forms are no longer used by the Home Office, even now when you look at the online application system that you have, there's no form as such that's completed. Even now, if you put into Google the words or the letters FLRM, further leave to remain on the basis of marriage, it takes you to the correct page from where the application can be made. So that's something that you need to bear in mind, timing, and that you do submit the correct application. This new system that the Home Office has of moving all applications online, which is fantastic, but sometimes it's a bit difficult to sort of navigate your way through to the correct form. Sometimes there are, when you look at the internet, when you're searching on the Home Office website, it looks like there are a number of different types of application that potentially you can apply under. You need to make sure you do apply under the correct form, because the difficulty is if you get that wrong, your visa could end up on the incorrect track, and worst case scenario is that the application could well be refused. So timing is important, and if you're doing it yourself, you have to make sure you're making the correct application for the category that you are in. And for today, as we are looking at spouse applications, immigration applications on the basis of spouses who are here, it's the form FLRM, which is traditionally the form that was completed, and that's what you can put in into the Home Office website, and that should take you to the correct link and the correct form that need to be completed online. So that's a couple of preliminary points out of the way: timing and making sure it's the correct form. What are some other key things that you need to bear in mind? We'll look at that after we've taken a short break. We'll be back in the next couple of minutes.